Hey everybody, Kelly Swanson here, trying this Facebook Live thing again. Today I have a message and I just kind of wanted to come to you sort of, off the cuff with it. It's actually a message for all you pink zebras out there who are obsessed with the road less traveled. Some of you always know that I call myself a pink zebra, and you may not know what I mean by that. It just means that in a sea of black and white zebras, I've always been the pink one, the one who doesn't follow the rules and who sometimes pays the price. Today I got a message from somebody on social media, and he began by telling me that he had attended one of my unconventional sessions on storytelling. Now, in case you don't know, when most people call me unconventional, it's kind of a polite way of saying that was weird and I wasn't sure I liked it. But in this man's case, the message went on to applaud me for my work. And it even went on to say to keep it up, and that my work, and I quote, was beautiful music to his soul. Wow. I mean, what a privilege in this life to have even just one person tell me that my work is music to their soul. I'll live off that compliment for a long time. And it got me to thinking, and Lord help us all when I get to thinking, I'm just saying, but I got to thinking about the word unconventional, which has followed me my whole life and not always intended as a compliment. And yet, unconventional might just be quite the opposite of something negative. It reminded me of a moment I experienced a few years ago. I was attending an industry event with some of my peers in the business and presenting to them the idea that had been knocking on my brain for as long as I could remember. This idea that lived in me my whole life, but somewhere along the way, as I entered the speaking business, I had buried it. I tried to ignore it. And yet I kept bringing it back up to anybody who would listen, hoping that finally I would find somebody who'd say, yes, you need to do that. So there I was again, already more than 10 years into a career that people already thought was unconventional and quite frankly had been dismissed by a few. And I'm standing up in front of them feeling as vulnerable as if I were naked, waiting for their approval, telling them my idea. And then the arrows came, one after another, piercing me from all sides. Reasons why this won't work. It'll never sell. I wouldn't pay to see that. And worse, because they were arrows from the people I admired most, the ones ahead of me, the conventional ones, who stood confident in the models they had proven to work. Now, I don't blame them anymore. For all of us, when asked for advice, are going to give it based on what works for us, based on our own truth. This time, though, the arrows weren't my imagination. It wasn't just my perception. My close friends in the room felt it too and quickly began to rise to my defense. So I wasn't making it up. The arrows were real. It was the worst and best moment of my life. Worst because, every worst fear I'd been carrying around about my idea was proven true in that room. Now, I didn't handle it well. Who would? I mean, when the very thing you have cherished about yourself your whole life is being attacked. And then there was this tiny moment, which made it the best. When one of them, the one I actually cared most about pleasing and his approval, pulled me to the side. And he was looking at me with his head cocked like I was some kind of science experiment. Many people give me that look. And he said something I'll never forget. He said, people aren't going to get it. And I'm not sure that's a bad thing. And he pulled out a candle. It was a gift, he said. A candle. And how weird is that? And he said, let me explain. He said, this candle is a gift to you. It's a symbol. It's a reminder to take out there into the dark, to light your way. He said, we can't go with you. We don't know how. We can't see what you see. You have to take the trip alone. And he said, we'll be standing here waiting for you to get to the other side. And when you do, turn around and let us know what it looks like to go where no one else has gone before. And my close friend whispered in my ear later that night. She said, Kelly, the ones who said it shouldn't be done will be the very same ones who are going to stand in line to buy a ticket. Now, I didn't act on those words at the time. I was still scared. I was still in a desperate need to fit in. I needed to make money, and scary ideas are hard to feed your family with. And my idea wasn't even cool scary. I'm not talking about anything that outrageous. Good grief, you'd think it was building a rocket or something. In fact, it was big and scary just to me, and that's kind of what matters here. And the fact that it was unconventional. It wasn't until COVID came that I truly was pushed out of complacency. Yes, successful complacency, that's for sure, but with a joy that had been buried now so deep it was in danger of never seeing the light. I had become so busy I'd stopped asking people about my idea. But that's the funny thing about a pandemic. The desperation brings you to a new place you truly never have been before. Innovation. Now, not all of us, just the ones who've been obsessed with it. And that's where this word today for me comes into play. Unconventional. It comes to me in a whole new light. As I realize looking back at history that the very few new ideas, grand inventions, thought-provoking solutions, or ideas that changed the world came from just a tiny bit, well, they didn't come from just a tiny bit more of what used to be. Convention didn't breed them. These ideas were often the result of blowing up the whole model, of staring at a clean blank canvas, of stripping away the expected and the traditional to create. And what is creativity, creation, innovation? But it is defying the conventional, going against what is expected and what people can see. We love to talk about innovation, but few really want to go there, because if they did, well, they probably wouldn't be using the traditional way they have of teaching it. I'm just saying. And now people like what they know. They like safe. They like to know the rules. They like to look around and copy. Nothing wrong with that. I've done a lot of that in my life. And proven models work because they've been proven to work. And we're not at fault for using them. But I don't think the true winners in this race will be the ones who figure out how to get their horse to run 1 second faster. Or the ones who figure out what is needed to build a stronger horse. But the ones who question the entire race. For true innovation is building something from nothing, not just making the conventional a little bit stronger. In today's economy, yes, during a pandemic, there will be many losers and many winners. That's a given. And good for you if you figure out how to make your horse run faster. I wish you all the best. But in this time, just like other moments of trial in our history, there will be another victor. You may not see it right away because while you are out there racing your horse, they're back in the lab building a new track. And be careful, because this new track may put your horse out of business. So if it taught me anything, it's that the saying is correct. Necessity is the mother of invention. So yes, sir. Gentleman who left me a message on social media, my methods are unconventional. Thank you. You couldn't have given me a better compliment. If there's one thing I've learned about being a pink zebra, it's not to go ask black and white zebras for advice. They don't know because they aren't pink. So if you are pink, if you are unconventional, if others don't think what you do makes sense, then you're on the right track. Stay strong, stay focused on your gut, keep your head down, and build that thing. Stop worrying about whether they'll like it, whether it'll sell, whether it's good enough, whether they think it's unconventional. That's irrelevant and not the point. And the outcome tomorrow is not the measure of its success. You may need a few tomorrows to get there. You are already victorious for trying what most people would not dare. And yes, it's going to sting when you get passed over for someone or something that looks safer, more traditional. And yes, you might make more money if you had played it safe too. But I don't think you're in this for the money. It has never inspired you. There are plenty of things you should have done, but if you're pink, you are obsessed not with the idea of what you should do, but with the idea of what you could do. Follow that road. Yeah, it's dark because nobody's gone before you to light the way, and it's lonely because the unconventional path has no footprint. Stay the course anyway. And to share the words that wise man gave me, not everybody will get it. And that's a good thing. We can't go with you there because we can't see it. You have to go alone. Follow the path, take this candle, and go light your way. And we'll wait for you here. And when you get there on the other side, turn around and let us know what it looks like to go where nobody else has gone before. Be pink, because we need you. And I have a feeling that one day the ones who said it couldn't be done will be the very ones standing in line to buy a ticket. And even more, one day, what is unconventional will become beautiful music to someone's soul. And that will all be worth it. Now, if you're still listening, and if you held on to the very end of this message, it probably means you are exactly the pink zebra who needed it, standing there wanting to move forward but a little scared of the dark. And if this is you, then I want you to join me on a journey to the other side of our fear, where we challenge ourselves to step into the dark, to explore our scary idea, where we link arms and encourage each other instead of throwing arrows, where we celebrate the unconventional. That is what my new show, Pride's Hollow, is all about. It's about people having the courage to do more than they should, but what they could if fear were no object. I'm going to share their stories and mine, as each episode will give you a challenge and something to think about and a tiny act of courage. But it's more than just me sharing stories. This is a movement for pink zebras like you, Kasia, and everybody else who wants to play. It costs you nothing except a little courage. So just go to my YouTube channel, prideshollow.com, and hit subscribe. I'll do the rest, and you'll know when the first episode airs, and you can join me there. In Pride's Hollow, the town you never want to leave, for when you enter, you receive your candle to go out into the dark and let us know what it looks like to go where no one else has ever been before.